Disclaimer. I am a law student, and the legal information provided is not legal advice. For that, please hire an attorney.
I don't know.
CDV, do you think the government should have any role in healthcare?
Well, to the point that we are now,
Like any role? Like,
well, I mean,
if so, what role should it have?
Well, specifically for physical, right? If you get into a car accident, any number, fall out of a tree, break a leg, go to the emergency room, but it's one of those things where
so let me ask
your body will continue to exist, right? If you don't put things into it, unless it's been actually prescribed, right? So I don't know, maybe I just have more of a naturistic viewpoint where whenever I have really needed to grab a hold of myself, right, and go, what am I made of? Like, what is the shit? I take my ass up to the mountains in North Carolina and I go, camping out in the woods for a few weeks and I just do what I do out there.
It's okay to not know some of these things, especially these things that are very well established. Again, decades we're talking of established science, of established research from many nations, all working together, people coming together and coming to, scientific consensus as this process works. It's okay to not know those things. But what's not okay is to not know those things and then come onto a panel and suggest, why don't you just go for a walk in the woods in response? And that's part of a harmful culture that has been built up around trans people that's denied us care.
Right. So
it has caused us immediate harm.
Here's the question then for me is if somebody hasn't been diagnosed with anything, then they can be assumed to be quote unquote normal. Right.
Well, hold on. Whoa, dude. I mean, literally. All right. Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna build a bridge to you. All right. I'm really trying with you right now. I'm really trying with you.
Right. We will bring it back to CTV after, so I can finish the point, though.
Okay, CTV, you're a veteran. You know plenty of people who have served who have mental issues, right? You wouldn't say that any of them are not normal by virtue of having those mental issues, right? And you wouldn't say that those people can't just go for a walk up in the mountains to get rid of those same mental issues.
Hung up on language and then interrupting me to then start down this little tirade is inherently disrespectful.
How is it inherently disrespectful? You're just drawing lines between, this kind of mental health we care about, but this kind we don't.
Hung up on the language in which I'm using to try to explain my fucking ideas.
Oh, wow, dude.
Right?
Hey, maybe you need to go for a walk in the mountains to calm down a little bit.
Maybe I do need to go for a fucking walk in the mountains.
Yeah,
maybe that's exactly what needs to happen,
I'm just trying to explore why you care about certain mental health and you don't care about other mental health. I want to go? What, you want me to fuck you in the mountains?
I have been known to go on Riley's Twitter and argue with her. Oh, you didn't even notice? That's cool. See, be that way. I can't believe that. I mean,
wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I legit didn't notice. I'm sorry.
Right, hold on, my time to speak. I'm just saying it's like I take the time to go over there and try to interact, and we can't even get. You didn't even know, man, that's so mean. Right, but it's all right. I won't hold that against you.
Where the fuck? Let me see this. I have to see this. I honest to God, I have never fucking seen anything that. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, I found one. I just want federal health care. Oh, it was when I was like, I just want federal. How do you justify having a right to someone else's services? Certainly seems like the word right in this case wouldn't be conflated to mean something that doesn't. Wait a second. So he's literally arguing it. Holy fuck. He literally chose to argue against the fact that I don't deserve health care based on. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Polar CTV is when Senpai doesn't notice him. Yeah, for fucking real. And also when he makes literally an argument. I want to go through this. How do you justify having a right to someone else's services? When those services are the difference between you living or dying, yeah, it's pretty fucking important. Because mind you, this isn't healthcare rights just as they pertain to trans healthcare. It's healthcare rights in general, right? And yeah, you deserve the right. You deserve a right to be able to get a service if it is literally the difference between you living or dying. This is the smallest Hold on, I have to go through. Oh my god, how much? Hold on, I have to see from original CTV. Replying. All right, so there was like an argument down here. You literally just did a philosophy meme of saying big words that look cool without actually making an argument or anything of substance. I complain about this shit, but at least the philosophers make their word look pretty. You just shit yourself over and over. One day, you will see, or you will be forever blind. You respect without giving and demand attention when you are not worthy. How serious should I take someone who calls names like a child? I shouldn't. Thanks for clarifying. Holy shit. This guy's fucking off his rocker. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Hold on, I have to laugh at this some more. Wait, am I supposed to recycle pizza boxes? No, it has to do with female. Alright, Yopi would be much better as both a trans woman and a person who is more discovered and well-versed in law to explain why your originalist readings of the Constitution is really absurdly, overwhelmingly stupid. I don't think that needs to be explained further than just on the Supreme Court explained in this case. How do you read their opinions? Wait, hold on. Oh, this was a whole, oh god, they really fucking got into it. Oh my god. Okay. How do you think? Do you think that just asking for Medicare for here, or just having that right to be refused services based on the fact that she's trans, Trump through executive order rolled back protections that prohibited doctors from refusing to treat patients based on their gender? Fucking true. Yeah. Okay. We disagree on everything, and my goal will never be to make you look like a Democrat. But my guy, protected classes are a thing America should be proud of. We aren't a nation of sociopaths. We ought to put human rights on ahead of everything else. Fucking true. All right. The best we can hope for in this nation is to hold up the rights of all the individuals. We can aspire and set an example for the rest of the world with regard to human rights, but we are not willing to be imperialists. Then we can only worry about our own land and borders. This guy's fucking, he literally didn't respond to anything that was just said. He literally didn't respond to anything. It's just like vague platitudes about being a nation of individuals. It doesn't actually respond to anything in this argument. Holy shit. These protections ensure that we hold up everyone's individual rights the same way that laws on slavery and segregation do. We as a global leader are failing in this regard to trans rights. Transgenders are already protected under Title VII. Wait, are we talking about like Title VII? Hold on. Are we talking about and they are not discriminated on, and they cannot be discriminated on the basis of sex? Wait a second. Title VII. That literally is just. Title. Rights. Yeah, it's literally just protection against discrimination on the basis of employment. This was the Supreme Court ruling. It has absolutely fucking nothing to do with healthcare. Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. So I have literally no idea what you're talking about now. This guy does not know what the fuck law is. This guy has no idea. This guy has no idea what the law is. Holy shit. Yeah, let's be clear. This guy, all right, I'm basically convinced this guy's just a transphobe. I'm so fucking mad that I actually treated him charitably in the debate. Clearly this guy's just fucking off his rockers. In Texas and other states, you can legally be evicted by your landlord if you're openly trans. Religious objection to trans identity is on the basis of this. Now that Title VII has been ruled, this is literally just as it pertains to employment. Nothing else. It's just employment. That's it. This is literally just employment. Well, perhaps if it's upheld in the way the Supreme Court after a 6-3 conservative. Unfortunately, conservatives tend to rule against trans and other LGBT individuals in this court case. It's the originalist understanding of the text that got the Supreme Court to rule the same way it did, meaning that sex includes all related language. I believe that the court will continue to rule in its turn trends in this regard. It did it because literally a plain reading of the text. Originalist doesn't really matter as much here. The reason that they ruled in this test, in this test, and mind you, it only pertains, this only pertains to employment. That's it. It only pertains. Pisco's arrived. Pisco, listen, if you get into the fucking waiting room, I'll bring you in the stream. You were absolutely amazing, and I want to talk to you. But literally, this only pertains to employment. This has nothing to do with any other civil rights. And also, it doesn't really have to do, it kind of has to do with originalist reading. It was originalist in the same way that Scalia would say originalist, where the plain reading of the language is the first place that you go to. And after that, if the plain language of a statute is clear, that's it. Full stop. That's the meaning of it. Woo, Pisco. Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, they basically, the justices interpreted, this was Gorsuch's opinion, right? Who's traditionally a more conservative justice, right? And he came to the conclusion that there's no way you can discriminate against transgender people without taking their sex into consideration. And so the implications from Title VII would bring that, it is sexual. Yeah, it's sexualism, but some people will lob that in with originalism because that was the way that Scalia took a lot of those interpretations. Yeah, so oh my god, I don't think that needs to be explained. Further justices on the Supreme Court explained this case. Did you read their opinions? Yeah, this guy clearly fucking didn't. This guy has no idea. This guy has no idea what the law is. Holy shit. Oh my god. This guy's such a fucking lolcow. This was great. All right, what else do we got? Hold on. This is amazing. Okay, so the partners run over. All right, where are ones where he's responding to me? You have a right to an attorney when arrested and put to Supreme Court. Same concept. Take it a step further. Government shoots you, and of course you should be taken to a doctor and foot the bill. However, since you are a free person, able to make decisions, you get to decide what's best for you and go. This has nothing to do with the argument. This has nothing to do with the argument. It's literally just a vague platitude. By that logic, no one is bound by the law since we are all free. True in the logic of the jungle sense, but that is not how you live your life, I'd reckon. Yeah, absolutely no. It's just fucking God. How salty has this guy been on my Twitter? I don't know what the waiting room is. It's up in the top. If you click on waiting room, you can be brought in. This guy, oh my God, he's obsessed with me. This guy's obsessed with me. Holy shit. Yeah, maybe the taking them out to the mountains meme is actually pretty accurate. Holy shit. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. Pisco is in there. Amazing. Pisco, what's happening? Hey.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh my God. Hey, first things first. You did absolutely fucking amazing in that panel.
Oh,
that was the
thank you
first
so
time.
much.
That was the first time I'd ever heard from you. That was the first time I'd ever heard of you. Holy shit. You were like the reason I usually like get so worried about going to those panels is because I always worry about like carrying the entirety of the thing myself. You did amazing. Yeah, no. So you said you're a law student, right?
Yeah.
Oh, where do you go to law school? Where are you at right now?
I don't.
Or you don't have. Sorry. You don't have to say. You don't have to say.
I go to T14.
You go to T4. Fuck.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, hats off to you. That is better than that. Well, I mean, I don't know. I went to a lower school. Like, I could have gone to a better school, but I decided to go to the one that gave me a full ride.
Everything. I'm paying with it with my debt, but yeah.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is. But hey, congrats to you. So, yeah, where are you at? Are you like 1L, 2L, 3L? Like, where are you?
3L.
You're 2L?
I'm a 3. Yeah, just 3 LOL, waiting for. I mean, I have a job waiting for me, so pretty much just coasting. How you do? Are you a 3L as well?
Oh yeah, or no, sorry, I'm a 2L. I'll probably be here for actually 2 more years. Hashtag unfortunate, but because I want to do a dual JD MPP program.
PPE?
MPP, like Masters in Public Policy. So I'll probably be around for a little bit. Holy fuck, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at because the CTV really wanted Senpai to notice him, and holy fuck, this guy has just been mauling on my Twitter. Like, holy shit.
Listen, listen, I've interacted with him for a little bit. I think that he has some issues. I can't help but like feel bad for him a lot of the time.
Oh my God, I feel awful for him. He's
yeah. I don't think he has a bad heart, but I think he has problematic views with respect to trans issues, among others. So
yeah, I mean, like, honestly, it's kind of funny because all right. Here's the thing. I like earlier in the debate before you got there, I was treating him in charitably in good faith because I didn't see any of this shit. Holy shit, he's just fucking like he is like transphobic. All right, I think after seeing like the overwhelming amount of like molding in my Twitter, I can pretty confidently say that. I thought he was just like misspoken or misstated before, but like, holy shit, this guy's fucking obsessed with me. Holy shit.
It's kind of one of those things where you wonder if this is his first exposure to that kind of thing.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, like, I read, like, I was going over some of his tweets. I went over a lot of his tweets where he was molding in my chat or in my responses before you came on. He has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. He has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. So I don't know. Yeah, go on.
I don't want to make an excuse for him just because I think he's like, I think people who have discriminatory views, it doesn't necessarily define everything about them, but I do agree with your sort of what you've said. I think that.
But we're talking about like intersectional, like why people have the views that they do. Yeah, I mean, like I like, sure. If we want to like talk like meta, like, oh, do we want to hold it against him for having these views, even though he might be a product of his circumstances, and that might have contributed to him being in the position that he did. Like, yeah, that's all wonderful and well and good to consider, but like,
he needs to change.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like that's basically the thing, right? Like at a certain point, like I do understand that like they're like, everyone is a product of their circumstances. People are normally like mostly adherent to their ideas. Like it's not like everyone is like this purely logical, like premise conclusions kind of a thinker, right? Most of us are like, broadly speaking, like products of our circumstances, and I get that and I understand it. But also, like, when you have someone who's kind of like obsessed with you on Twitter and like continuously like asks you about the trans question, oh, do trans people really deserve rights? Oh, do trans people really deserve equal protection under law? What's up with these trans people? Like, I'm not going to treat them with respect. I'm sorry, I'm really not. I have no interest in that.
I just want to say, totally understandable, and I don't think you should have to sort of be patient with him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I tend to be, like, I don't know. I can tend to be patient. Like, actually, the debate was a really good example. Like, at the beginning, I was really patient with him. I really tried to walk him through things. But, like, I guess here's the way that I'll usually make the distinction, right? I will work with someone up to the point where they have demonstrated that they are incapable of being reasonable when actually having a discussion. If I am talking to someone and it becomes very apparent that no matter what I say, they are going to continue to maintain the views that they do, then I'm not going to care about actually convincing them, because there's literally nothing that I could do to be able to convince them against the views that they hold. I'm pretty reasonably certain I didn't know that was like the case when I talked to him. Now, after reviewing like his molding on my Twitter, I think that's pretty easily, like, arguably the case. And yeah, now I'm just gonna kind of dunk on him. I don't know. Yeah,
I would agree with that. And now I'm starting to. This is making me question why do I interact with him on some level? You know, I want him to change, but knowing what I know and being through the debates that I have been with him, I think that change is pretty close to impossible. So I wonder if I'm being an asshole by just using him as essentially a prop. And
I would say not.
Well, yeah, maybe it's useful for whatever, but now I'm starting to second guess if all I'm doing is trying to dunk on him, are my intentions as good as I thought they were? Maybe they're not.
Yeah. So I've thought through this a lot, and this is basically the way that I put it, right? Because I mean, like, as far as there's a couple different ways to look at this, right? The first is that, like, broadly speaking, the nice civil debates don't make for as good hashtag content on the YouTube platform, right? So it is good to be able to get people in who are just absolutely ridiculous for the good old blood sports, right? Now the question is, all right, well, who do we want to feel like morally justified, or like who do we want to engage in blood sports with, right? Usually the way that I will make the determination is whether, based on the totality of the circumstances, that I think that person is acting in good faith, meaning is there a chance and that is reasonable, where I could make an argument that would disprove something, like an argument that they have, and that they would meaningfully change in that position, right? And at the point when I believe that, based on the totality of the evidence, that is not the case, then I'm going to stop. And at that point, it's basically, for me, following these premises, right? It's like talking to a brick wall. And so like, for me, if I'm just focused on, like, talking to this person, like, in a vacuum, devoid of all other circumstances, I'm like, oh, well, why the fuck am I talking to this person? Nothing that I say will convince them. Well, now the game changes to, whereas before it was convincing him and the audience, it's just convincing the audience. And basically, yeah, exactly. And so what I do is I use him. Yeah, I'll totally use him as a prop. Are you kidding me? 100% I'll use him as a prop. I'll humiliate him and show everyone why his positions are just laughably wrong. And if
I think we did effectively tonight.
Oh, 100%. Oh, yeah. Though, like, I was looking at my chat. Yeah, though, like, no one here, there's no one who can possibly take him seriously. The only people who could take it, like, who could look at him and actually take him seriously are people who we could never meaningfully reach to begin with, right? Like, there's no one who could have watched that and believe that he came out in the right who wasn't, like, already 1,000% bought into just, like, Republican shilling.
I was more, to be honest with you, like, totally agree with you on there and where the audience was. I was more concerned that I thought that CTV's presence was letting last username like scurry away from a lot of
more reasonable. Yeah. No, I definitely get that. I'm always thinking about, because normally, all right, so like the TLDR is that, like, I wasn't. So originally, the reason I was going to go onto this panel was because I heard that Destiny was going to be on there, and I thought that was actually going to be a good conversation, because, like, Destiny seems like someone who actually, like, some of these would be interesting conversations to have with.
Oh, he is. I've had a conversation with him, on Court Packing, just his thing. I think he just put up a video on it, and it was.
Oh, I think I watched a little bit. Oh, that was you. All right, chill.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So I mean, like, basically, when I was, so originally the idea was like, okay, like the utilitarian calculus. Hey Pisco, thanks for streaming, or thanks for, I appreciate it. But yeah, so like basically, the idea that, like, I would not want to engage in these sort of panels if I don't think that the utilitarian calculus would end up in my favor, right? I don't like going on panels where the people who I do vehemently disagree with can otherwise seem like reasonable people, because I feel like in those instances that those people would get a larger utilitarian benefit of seeming like they have a reasonable position or positions, and would drive more people towards them, right? I generally try to avoid those kind of things because, mind you, I want to win.
So you're worried about the audience. You're worried about the or you're thinking about, not necessarily worried, but you're thinking about the perception and whether or not it's worth it for you and the audience to engage in a particular panel, correct?
Oh yeah,
And-
100%. Especially
Okay.
especially as I continue to get larger, right? Because eventually,
Yeah.
like, it will become a thing for people to be able to say, like, I don't know, like down the line, if I continue to grow, right? I don't want to
Absolutely.
get into a point where like someone basically says, "Oh, I was on a panel with RGR and I came off as reasonable. You should go follow me," right? Like that's basically the thing I want to avoid, because like some people do that with like other larger creators, and it's probably the reason why some of them generally avoid panels and things like this, because like just generally turning their eye onto a smaller person can drive content towards them or drive followers or subscribers, and I want to make sure I'm avoiding that, right? And the only times that I am fine with engaging in these sort of things are when I know I can basically almost certainly come out on top, right? And so like especially with the first subject, and that's why I didn't love this, right? Because like basically when Destiny dropped out, I was already committed enough to the point, like it was like a day or two before, right? So I was already committed enough to the point where I was like, all right, I guess I can't drop out. And I knew that the first argument I could, like, I knew that I came out like on top of the first argument, right? Like the trans healthcare argument, I think it's like easy.
I missed it. Was
Yeah.
that so? Was a question whether? What was the question, sir?
So basically, it was supposed to be whether or not trans or gender affirming care should be covered by healthcare. It
Right.
ended up actually shifting from that to whether or not healthcare should be privatized or public.
As it always does.
Yeah. And so what it ended up becoming in practicality was a question of should healthcare be public or private, but also transphobia, which was a very interesting debate. And basically, so with last username, it became like this conversation about like, oh, well, which system would be better? I think that I can't remember the other people in the and then CTV was like, I'm not transphobic, but, and that was basically the entirety of it, right? Like he was like, I just have questions. I just think we're doing things too hastily. Like basically every turf or generic transphobic talking point that you'd ever heard. Just like he kept like one after the other. Like it was actually impressive. But yeah, so no, I like that. So that argument I felt like fine enough about. It was more a problem of like the subsequent questions. I felt like it went over fine enough with the second prompt. But something like the third prompt, where I feel like the Supreme Court prompt, I feel like that went over fine. I feel like he was able to get away from a lot of things. And there definitely is that broader problem of like, oh, well, how reasonable did he seem coming out of it? I think that he didn't seem too reasonable. I don't think that he came off as a more reasonable position. I do think that you have a bit of a problem with like the last prompt, where I do think that we had the better arguments on the merits. I actually think that you did particularly well, even though I hadn't thought as much about like alternatives, so I appreciated that you had a lot more to say on that, right? But I think that there definitely was a bit of a risk that someone like him with, let's be clear, terrible ideas, did end up coming off as more reasonable, and that's generally what I try to avoid, right? So I would consider it like, do I think it was like an L in that regard? I don't know. I think that like I think that the reasonable person would watch and would generally agree with our positions. I am of that opinion, but there is there's a non-zero risk that there's going to be at least, like, I don't think that there's really going to be any people driven to like CTV, unless they're fucking crazies, in which case, hey, they're going to go somewhere.
They were already there.
Yeah, exactly. But like with last username, yeah, I don't know, probably. And I don't love that, and that's why I generally try to avoid these. But because, based on the circumstances, it was something which I normally wouldn't have done, but I kind of ended up in just by virtue of the circumstances. So tried to make the best of it.
Yeah, I thought you did a really excellent job.
Thank you.
Tell me more. Like, how's law school going? Talk to me.
Yeah. God, I don't even know. It's weird because like I'm in this position where this part of my life is progressively taking up more and more, and so I find like my path as a law student diverging pretty drastically from a lot of other people. Like now I'm making enough income where this is like getting close to paying rent. Like that's a pretty serious thing, and that's within just a summer of streaming, right? And so I've been talking to a lot of people about like how I want to take this. And mind you, like I'm in a position where there's not as much pressure for me because I don't have to worry about debt after law school. I'm going to be debt free, which
One of the lucky ones.
yeah, hey, that's the trade-off, right? You get to go
I
to a
sell my
T14.
soul to big law.
Yeah. God, I've heard of so many. I was talking to people at the before the stream about how I have some friends who the same thing, right? Like people who are at my law school who who had to take out several loans, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go work for Big Daddy Law for a couple of years, and then then I'll do something good with my life. And then a lot of the, yeah. But,
Not the Big Law's wonderful. I love my firm. There's a great firm. They do a lot of great public interest stuff.
Oh, nice.
So I'm just covering mess.
Yeah. No, you're completely fine. Hey, listen, I've worked. I don't know. Like I've clerked at firms. I've worked at firms. Fuck, public and private. Like I don't know. Firms are fine. It's just not for me. Like I've really tried firm life. I even worked in like the AG's office functions very much like a firm, and I really enjoyed it. At least. Or I enjoyed it as much as I could enjoy that kind of a setup, right? But at the end of the day, I don't know. I just need more flexibility in what I do.
Sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was a good opportunity to have. But yeah. So talking about like how law school is going, I mean, it's going fine. I have great grades, great GPA. Nice. It's just a weird situation because, like, for example, I was just the other day I was streaming with someone else who's in my community who. His name is Grayson, and he has interned for federal Congress people and has connections in there. And we are actually working on an application where I'm going to be applying to several jobs where I'm basically going to be like the social media manager for federal Congress people, which is a job I would never, like, if you asked me if I would apply to these sort of jobs before the summer, I would never, ever, ever have thought I was going to be applying to them. But I actually have like really good credentials after, having, sort of getting a handle on this whole social media.
Sure. Thing, Yeah, you're very personable.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
That's extremely helpful. And I think they'd be lucky to have you based on it. I have to confess, I saw a video of yours. Someone linked it to me with respect to an analysis of the common law murder.
Oh, shit.
And I thought you pretty much nailed it. I think it was in like the Kenosha stuff. Mm-hmm. With respect to like you going through criminal homicide and like what the common law said and all the sort of potential affirmative defenses or whatever you said. I thought you did a really good job. So, I think that video kind of blew up. So,
I mean, it did like, oh wait, did it blow up? How much coverage? Did
I don't know.
Yeah, but thank you. No, I do appreciate the compliment. I did try, because I mean, like when it was happening, I mean, like I was literally like, I think at the time, let me think, when did Kyle Rittenhouse, when did Kenosha happen this past summer? Like
a month and a half. I don't know.
Yeah, it was happening while I was clerking for the organized crime division. So I mean, like it was literally stuff I was working on at the time, and I was looking at it, and I was just like watching a lot of a lot of people talk about like the law, and now I cannot tell you how much it bothers me when people try to talk about the law and they have no idea what the fuck that they're talking about.
Go ahead, sir.
I was gonna say, like, it makes me so frustrated to see people like try and authoritative stuff. Like, there's one guy on YouTube. I don't know if you're familiar with him. His name is Actual Justice Warrior.
No.
And I cannot. All right, so he's like I think he's got like 70K subscribers. We were going to debate originally on Modern Day Debates, but he ended up backing out. And so like the question was originally going to be like, did Kyle Rittenhouse, or would any reasonable jury find that Kyle Rittenhouse acted in self-defense? And so like it bothered me because I watched a couple of his videos on the matter, and mind you, this is a guy with absolutely zero legal experience, right? Like no legal education, no, like none of that, right? And so if you watch his videos, he's like, well, like based on my interpretations of the law, based on my studying of the law, and I'm always correct about when I study the law. Like you can just like watch him and like from when you hear that, and mind you, the videos are total garbage, right? But from like that point on, it's just kind of like, wow, this guy actually thinks that because he was able to look up a statute one time and he read it on his own, that makes him like as qualified as like any other person with a legal education. It's like, holy shit. And
I have to say, in response to your consternation at the lack of legal or the presence of legal ignorance on Twitch and elsewhere, lecture fan. Before people were asking him in his chat, he's a conservative lawyer, the Trump guy. Okay. I don't know if you, but he's like a conservative lawyer guy. And he was trying, someone asked him, what's the difference between murder and manslaughter? And he was like, well, one is intentional and one is unintentional or something like that. I'm like, wait, like the first thing.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So like, do you not know about like reckless indifference murder, or do you not know what malice of forethought is? Like,
yeah, so what the fuck? Like, can't even get like.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Close in time to that moment. I called him out and I was like, some lawyer, you don't even know the difference between murder and manslaughter.
Mhm.
Close in time to that, I think I found your video, so it was refreshing to see like an actually correct look at the common law doctrine. So
yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, like, listen. All right. So one thing that I'll say about this, right, is that before I went to law school, I competed for college mock trial for 4 years, right? And so when, people compete in those, usually the people who judge those competitions are like people who are bar certified lawyers and judges who are doing like their CLE credits, right? And so it's like I don't think that this is any secret to anyone. There are bad lawyers, right?
Yeah.
There are bad lawyers. There are bad judges. Just because you have a law degree, that doesn't it certainly helps to prove your credibility. It's not the end all be all, right?
It's important to Giuliani.
Yeah. It's important because you have at least at some point been demonstrably exposed to the knowledge. That doesn't mean that you've retained it and you're able to articulate it like accurately, right? Those are two entirely separate things, right? Like there are people there are people who I look at and I always wonder how they pass the bar, but it gives me confidence knowing that, hey, if they pass the bar, I should be able to as well, damn it.
That's right.
Yeah. But, I don't know. All right, what time is it, my end? God, it is midnight. Yeah, all right. I think I'm gonna call it there. Thank you so much for chatting, and hey, Papa Dogashu, thank you so much for the subscription. Appreciate it. I have no more emotional, whatever to be able to express it better than that. But thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I thought you did a great job on the panel, and from the basis of like the one video I've seen, I'm a big fan of your work.
All right. Well, hey, thank you. Yeah, and hey, like if they're like, I usually recruit for people to do like weekly stuff, like my regular segments on my channel, like from the Discord. So now that you should have the role, and I'll double check that right now for like the content creator role. And so like, yeah, just if you ever see something that you're interested in coming on and collabing and talking about, let me know and we can get you back on here.
I'd be happy to, Riley. It was a pleasure meeting you.
It was a pleasure meeting you as well. All right. Hey, I'll talk to you later. All right.
Yeah. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.